My brother gave me 48 hours to leave or he'd throw me and my wife out on the street, and I thought he was bluffing. What followed wasn't just betrayal, it was a full-blown unraveling of everything I thought I knew about family. Let's just say by the end, he wasn't the only one getting kicked out, and you're not ready for how it goes down. I swear I thought it was some twisted joke at first. Like when your sibling says something messed up and you just laugh because it can't actually be real. Except this time, it was. My brother, Jason, 26M, looked me dead in the eye and told me and my wife we had 48 hours to get out of the house or he'd throw our stuff on the lawn. I laughed, literally laughed, thought he was messing with me, but his face didn't change, not even a twitch. He meant it. Let me back up. I'm Derek, 28 million. My wife, Allie, 27F, and I had been staying at my parents' house for a while after a rough patch. Medical bills, layoffs, the usual stuff life loves to throw at you all at once. We were getting back on our feet, had jobs lined up, just needed a few more months to save. My folks were cool with it. Or so I thought. Jason lived there too, but he's always had this way of acting like the house belonged to him. The golden child. The successful one. Real estate license, flashy car. The Instagram girlfriend who calls herself a brand. You get the picture. I've always gotten the hand-me-down treatment. Not that I'm bitter. Okay, maybe a little. But things had been tense lately. Jason kept making these passive-aggressive comments at dinner. Must be nice not paying rent. Some of us work for a living. I'd bite my tongue every time because I didn't want to fight in front of our parents. Allie tried to stay out of it, but I knew it was wearing on her. Then 2 days ago, we came back from a grocery run, and the locks were changed. I thought we were at the wrong house. Jason was standing in the driveway with his arms crossed and this smug little tilt to his head. That's when he said it. You've got 48 hours to get your shit and go. I thought it was some kind of prank. I looked around for my dad's truck, for my mom peeking out the window. Someone to say it was just a dumb stunt. Nothing. Just Jason, serious as hell, holding a crumpled piece of paper, some bogus eviction notice he printed off the internet. What are you even talking about? I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Allie just stood behind me, clutching the grocery bag like it was armor. Jason didn't flinch. Dad signed the house over to me last month. It's in my name now. You're trespassing. You've got 48 hours. Be grateful I'm giving you that. My heart sank so fast I swear I could feel it in my shoes. Bullshit, I said. Dad would never. He did, Jason cut me off. He's done dealing with your excuses. He wants peace. So do I. And just like that, he turned around and walked back inside. We stood there for a minute. Allie dropped the bag. I heard the eggs crack on the pavement. I called my parents. Straight to voicemail. That was when I realized something was very, very wrong. You ever look back and realize the red flags weren't subtle? Like, not even a little? That's me now, sitting in the back of my beat-up Corolla with my wife asleep next to me, surrounded by our stuff in trash bags, wondering how I didn't see this train wreck coming from a mile away. Jason wasn't always like this. Or maybe he was, and I just didn't want to believe it. Growing up, he was the baby. Charming, a little loud, a little too good at flipping situations to make himself the victim. I used to take the fall for him constantly. Broken lamp? Derek's fault. Missing money from mom's purse? Derek probably borrowed it. He had this way of looking all innocent while I got grounded. I figured he'd grow out of it. I figured wrong. The turning point was when our dad started calling him the future of this family. I'm not kidding. He actually said that. Meanwhile, I was working 2 jobs, trying to finish school, barely keeping it together after Allie's health scare. I never asked for help. I just kept my head down and hoped they'd notice. Spoiler alert, they didn't. When we moved back in 6 months ago, it was supposed to be temporary. That was the deal. My mom even hugged me when we showed up with our suitcases. Said, "We've always got room for you here." Jason barely looked up from his phone. Didn't even offer to help bring stuff in. Just muttered something like, "Hope this isn't permanent." I brushed it off. Allie told me later she got a bad feeling from that moment. I told her he'd come around. What a joke. It started small. He'd accidentally eat our groceries, borrow stuff without asking, turn the hot water off when Allie was in the shower. Then came the bigger moves. He got my dad into some real estate scheme, flipping houses, big profit margins, blah blah. Suddenly, Jason's words carried weight. Dad would parrot his ideas at dinner like gospel. I'd try to offer a different take and get shut down. Let the kid speak, Derek. He's got ambition. I should have realized what was happening. One night, I overheard Jason talking to his girlfriend on speaker. He said, "Derek's dead weight. I'm just waiting for the right moment to push him out." I confronted him about it. He laughed in my face, said I was paranoid, gaslighted me so hard I actually apologized. Then the mail started changing. Letters addressed to Jason, our last name, owner. I asked my mom what was up and she just said, "It's easier this way. He handles the bills now." I swear on everything, I tried to keep the peace. I got a job at a mechanic shop. Allie started working part-time remote. We paid for our own food, kept our corner of the house spotless. We didn't ask for anything, not even when Allie had that fainting spell and I had to drive her to urgent care in a car with a radiator that barely held water. But Jason? He'd walk around like a landlord, bang on our door at 7 a.m. telling us to be quiet. "Your guests," he'd say. "Act like it." I'd bite my tongue so hard I tasted blood, because where were we going to go? Rent was impossible. Every apartment we applied for either ghosted us or wanted 6 months up front. And the worst part? My parents let it happen. My own father started avoiding me. If I walked into a room, he'd find a reason to leave. My mom? She'd smile tight and say stuff like, "Try not to provoke him," or, "You know how he gets." So when Jason dropped the bomb about the house being his, about us being trespassers, it wasn't just betrayal. It was confirmation. They'd all pick their side. They just didn't have the guts to tell me to my face. That night, after we were locked out, I called my mom again. She finally answered, whispered, "I'm sorry, Derek. This is just how it has to be. We can't fight him. He owns the house now." And that was it. No offer to meet, no offer to help. Just, it is what it is. Allie cried in the car for the first time in months. I just sat there staring at the dashboard. Number 2, we booked a cheap motel for the night, the kind with cigarette burns on the comforter and a door that doesn't close all the way. I laid awake most of the night scrolling Reddit, reading other stories like this, wondering if I was the problem, if I had done something wrong. But the truth is, I know I didn't. I know Jason. I know exactly who he is. And now he's about to find out exactly who I am too, because I'm not letting this go. Not after everything. This isn't over. We didn't even make it through the full 48 hours. Not because we gave in, but because Jason escalated faster than I thought even he was capable of. The morning after the lockout, we went back to the house to try and collect the rest of our things. I figured, hey, maybe if we catch him when he's not home, we can slip in, grab our boxes from the garage, and leave with what little dignity we had left. I wasn't trying to cause a scene. I just wanted my wife's laptop and my late grandmother's photo albums. Stuff Jason wouldn't care about, right? Wrong. We parked across the street, watched for movement. Lights were off. Jason's car wasn't in the driveway, so we went for it. Allie hung back in the car. I walked up, heart pounding like I was breaking into my own house. The garage code still worked. Another one of Jason's oversights. I slipped in, grabbed 2 boxes stacked by the water heater. One had my wife's winter coats and her old journals. The other had photo frames, some electronics, my tool set. I was just about to close the garage when I heard tires screeching. He was back. Of course he was back. Jason jumps out of the car like he's filming some knockoff cop show. Screams, "Get the hell off my property." I hold up the box, trying to stay calm. "I'm just grabbing our stuff. You said 48 hours. He's already dialing his phone. "Not if you break in. That's trespassing, asshole." And then he says it. This line I will never forget. "You want to do this the hard way? Fine, let's do it." Next thing I know, 2 cops show up. Not joking. 2 actual cops, lights flashing, neighbors watching from their lawns like it's goddamn prime time. Jason gives them this whole speech about unlawful entry. Spins it like we threatened him, like we were trying to steal things. I explain it's my stuff, that we lived there, that there's no court order, no formal eviction. One officer asks Jason for proof of ownership. He proudly waves a deed with his name on it, Dad's signature, notarized and everything. I didn't even know what to say. We weren't arrested or anything, but we were told to leave. "Civil matter," the cop said. "Sorted out in court." Allie was shaking when I got back to the car. She asked me what happened. I told her, "We're done trying to play fair." So we drove straight to my buddy Nate's place. Not a close friend, not someone I'd normally lean on, but we used to game together and he always said, "If you ever need a crash pad, I got you." I guess it was time to test that. He took one look at us, me carrying a half-crushed box, Allie pale and silent, and just said, "Spare keys on the hook." We dropped everything in the corner of his spare room. Air mattress, mismatched blankets. It wasn't much, but it felt safer than home. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because I was angry, because I was finally clear. I knew what I had to do. Jason thinks he's untouchable because he's got the paper, the charm, and Dad's signature. But here's what he doesn't have. Memory. Mine. And unfortunately for him, I remember everything. I remember every sketchy deal he bragged about at dinner, every under-the-table tenant arrangement he joked about, the time he bought weed from his old high school dealer and forgot the guy was still on probation, the way he used my name to sign up for utilities when his credit was trashed, and how I didn't say a word because we're family. And I remember exactly where he keeps his backup hard drive. Not that I need it, because I've got my own copies. I've got screenshots, email trails, recordings, stupid, reckless voice memos he sent me when he thought I was his ride or die. "You want me gone, Jason? Cool. But you don't get to pretend you're some flawless businessman while you bury me in the dirt." So I did what anyone would do. I started compiling, quietly, patiently. I started a folder titled Insurance. I dug through my old laptop, re-downloaded our shared Google Drive from that short-lived business idea he tried to get off the ground. I listened to old voicemails. I even found an audio clip from 2 years ago where he bragged about scamming a former landlord out of repairs by faking water damage. I wasn't even trying to ruin him. Not at first. I just wanted something in my back pocket. But the deeper I went, the more I realized. I'd been sitting on a gold mine of receipts. He wanted war? Cool. I'd play general. And the first missile? A little flash drive. Nothing fancy, just something I slipped into the mail slot of our parents' house the next morning. No label, no note, just truth. Let them hit play. Update 1, Welp, y'all were right. Leaving that flash drive was like lighting a match in a fireworks factory. First off, thanks for the comments on the original posts. Didn't think so many people would care, but damn, the messages. Wild. Some of y'all are savage. Next time, salt the earth. Had me crying. Others told me to lawyer up or go full NC. Believe me, I hear you. But this first move? It wasn't about court. It was about truth and the fallout. Whew, let me walk you through it. I was crashing on Nate's couch, just scrolling Reddit half-zombie, half-nervous wreck when my phone started blowing up. First it was my mom, missed call, then another, then a string of texts. What is this? You need to come home now. Tell me this is fake. Didn't answer. Not playing that game? Then came the group chat messages. Not just the family one, which, side note, Jason renamed to New Era, kill me, but the extended one too. Aunt Laura, Cousin Brent, even Uncle Mike, who hasn't texted me since I was like 14, suddenly pops in with, "Is this real?" Followed by, "I always knew something was off about him." Apparently, my dad was the one who found the drive. Plugged it into his laptop thinking it was his, saw the folder marked Jason's Greatest Hits, and clicked. Inside, a screenshot of Jason photoshopping pay stubs for a lease, voice memos of him bragging about skimming repair costs off clients, an email where he literally threatens a tenant with legal consequences for asking about mold remediation, while telling me privately, "It's just mildew, don't be dramatic." And the kicker? A clip of him saying with his whole chest, "Honestly, I only got into real estate because I figured scamming boomers would be easy. They never read the fine print." Yeah? My mom apparently lost it, called Jason screaming. My dad tried to mediate, but he was the one who told my uncle, who told my aunt, who told everyone. You know those family secrets that everyone kind of suspects but no one says out loud? This drive cracked them wide open. I didn't have to say a word. By 3 p.m. that day, Jason had posted a vague Instagram story like, "Haters always trying to tear down what they can't build, mushy you stay winning." Brother, no one was hating until you tried to evict your brother with a fake-ass internet form and got caught lying through your veneers. Meanwhile, my mom texted again, "Come home. We need to talk. This is tearing the family apart." I didn't reply. Because what's there to say? Jason played king, got crowned, and now the peasants are revolting. And for once, I'm not the one they're mad at. You ever watch someone who's been untouchable their whole life finally feel consequences? Not just embarrassment, but real, sharp, public fallout? It's like watching a statue crack from the inside. You don't cheer. You just stand there stunned, wondering how it stood so long. Jason's unraveling started slow. A few texts here and there from family asking, "Is everything okay?" mixed with silent group chat tension. But then the wrong people saw the wrong things, and the right people decided they weren't going to stay quiet anymore. Turns out that drive didn't just get passed around the family. My cousin Jordan, who used to rent a basement unit from Jason 2 years ago, reached out after seeing screenshots from the group chat. Said, "Is this the same Jason who told me not to report the broken heater because the city inspectors are vultures?" I said, "Yup." She said, "Cool, because I still have the text thread. And receipts. Want 'em?" I had to reread it. I didn't even ask her for help. She just offered. Turns out Jason burned more bridges than I realized. People remembered. They just hadn't said anything because, well, it was easier not to. Until now. Then came the Facebook post. Aunt Cheryl, not the most tech-savvy woman, but the most petty woman alive, posted a public Family Matters message with a not-so-veiled dig at Jason. Something like, "Some people think success means stepping on others, but real family lifts each other up. Shame when people forget that. Screenshots don't lie." Jason tried to comment. "Not sure what this is about, but please don't drag private matters publicly," she replied with a zip file link. I lost it. By the next morning, his little social media empire, the boss moves, TikTok, the braggy Instagram real estate reels, the Facebook flexing, started bleeding followers. Not fast, not dramatically, but enough for him to notice. He deleted a bunch of posts, made others private, changed his TikTok bio from real estate killer to taking a break. Mental health matters. Right. My mom texted again, "You're making things worse. Jason's getting death threats." I didn't respond. Because I wasn't making anything. He built this. I just turned on the lights. Allie, for her part, stayed quiet through all this. She's not vengeful by nature, and she kept asking me if I was sure I wanted to stoop. But one night, we were on Nate's couch eating cold takeout, and I looked over to see her scrolling through Jason's deleted tweets, screen recording them. I said nothing. She didn't look up. She just said, "He stole our home. He deserves to feel something." And she was right. Because here's the thing no one told Jason. When you kick people on your way up, they wait for you to fall. By Friday, I get a call. Not from Jason. From my dad. I almost didn't pick up. But curiosity won. He starts off calm. Too calm. "Son," he says, like we're starting a therapy session, "we need to talk about what you've done." I laugh. "You mean what he did?" He ignores that. "This is a family matter. You've made it public. You've embarrassed your brother." I almost said he embarrassed himself. But instead, I said, "You signed the house over to him. You picked him." That shut him up for a second. Then, softly, "We didn't think he'd do this." That hit harder than I expected, because that was the closest thing I'd gotten to an admission from my dad in years. I almost softened. Almost. Then he added, "But you still went too far. You need to stop." And just like that, I snapped right back. "Stop! You let him kick us into the street. You ignored my calls. You ghosted your daughter-in-law. You let him treat me like garbage for years, and now that people are finally seeing who he is, I'm the one who went too far." He didn't answer. So I said, "Don't call again unless it's to apologize." And I hung up. I haven't heard from him since. Jason, on the other hand, I saw him last night. Total coincidence. I was picking up a sandwich from the deli near Nate's place and he walked in. Hoodie up, sunglasses on like a celebrity in hiding. He didn't see me at first, just ordered his food and stood there, tapping his phone like it owed him something. But then he looked up, made eye contact. You know that moment when someone realizes they don't scare you anymore? That's what it was. He didn't say anything. Just stared. I didn't say anything either. He took his sandwich and left. No smirk, no insult, not even a glare. Just left, and I stood there, sandwich in hand, with this weird feeling in my chest. Not joy, not pride, just quiet. For the first time in years, I felt equal. Trust me, it's not over, not even close. Because Jason, he just made a move I never saw coming. I should have known Jason wouldn't stay quiet for long. The deli sighting? That was just the eye of the storm. The calm before he tried to claw his way back to the top, no matter who he had to drag down with him. It started with a knock on Nate's door. I was brushing my teeth, barely dressed, when Allie came into the bathroom with this look, tight-lipped, eyes wide, not scared exactly, but bracing. "You're gonna want to see this." Jason, standing on Nate's porch, hoodie off now, hair gelled, button-down shirt like he thought dressing up would hide the stink of desperation. He had flowers. I'm not even joking. A $7 grocery store bouquet and that forced smile he wears when he's about to sell you on something fake. I stepped out and shut the screen door behind me. Didn't invite him in. "What the hell do you want?" He held up the flowers like that was an answer. "Look, I just want to talk." I laughed. "Oh, now you want to talk? After calling the cops? After putting us on the street?" Jason sighed like I was the unreasonable one. "Can you not make this harder than it already is?" He tried to spin it, claimed he'd been pushed into a corner, that he didn't expect things to spiral, that he never meant for it to get personal. I crossed my arms. It was always personal. Then he dropped it. The real reason he was there, not to apologize, not even to clear the air, but to negotiate. Apparently, thanks to the family drama and the folder of receipts, one of his mentors in the real estate world had backed out of a deal. Some partnership, some property bid, whatever. I didn't even care about the details. What mattered was the phrase he used next. "I need you to publicly clear some of this up." I blinked. "You mean lie for you?" He kept going. "Just a post. Something simple. Say it was a misunderstanding. Say I helped you out. That I never actually evicted you. That the police thing was just a miscommunication. You want me to clean up your mess?" I asked, stunned. "After everything?" He looked over his shoulder, lowered his voice like we were co-conspirators instead of enemies. "This could really screw my future. You don't want that. You don't want me to crash and burn." "No," I said, taking a step closer. "But you should have thought of that before you torched everything." That's when his face changed. That sales guy mask slipped. His mouth curled. Eyes narrowed. "Fine," he muttered. "But you're not innocent either." What's that supposed to mean? I mean, if I go down, I'm not going alone. And with that, he turned and left. Flowers still in hand. I stood there for a second, stunned. Then I walked back inside and locked the door. Allie was waiting in the living room. She didn't say anything, just raised her eyebrows, and I said, "He's bluffing." She didn't answer, just handed me her phone, a screenshot from Facebook. One of Jason's old friends, someone I barely knew, had posted a throwback photo of a night years ago. We were at a party. I was in the background holding a drink, half smiling, clearly miserable. The caption said something like, "Back when the gang was wild, miss these days, before things got messy." And guess who commented? Jason. "Yeah, Before certain people started recording convos and digging up dirt. Sad. There were replies, of course, some agreeing, some asking what happened, and then one from my dad. No joke, my own dad commented, "People forget loyalty these days, especially when they've always been jealous." I wanted to throw the phone across the room. Instead, I sat down, stared at the wall. This wasn't just about Jason anymore. He was dragging me through the mud publicly, planting seeds, spinning a new narrative, one where I was the villain, where I was the ungrateful, bitter brother who'd destroyed the family over petty revenge. I could feel it happening in real time. Aunts and uncles texting less, cousins liking his posts again. The tide was shifting. He was trying to smear me into silence. So I made a decision. I wasn't going to play defense. If he wanted war, he was going to learn what losing actually looked like. But first, I had to burn one last bridge, because someone had been helping Jason from the inside, and I finally figured out who. Update 2. Okay, buckle up, because this one hurt. I told y'all I'd post again when the next shoe dropped, but I didn't think it would stomp straight through my spine. Remember how Jason's little smear campaign started gaining traction? The Facebook comments, the vague subs, the family slowly liking his stuff again? At first, I thought it was just people falling back into old habits. You know, siding with the shiny golden boy because it's easier. But something didn't add up. Stuff I only told a handful of people, stuff that never went in the drive, never posted online, just conversations, started popping up in weird ways. Little twisted versions of things I'd said to exactly one person. So I tested a theory. I sent out 3 separate texts. Different details, slightly altered timelines. One about where Allie and I were staying. One about how much I supposedly made at my new job. One about something I'd thought about doing but hadn't. Each message went to a different person, and only one of those fake details showed up, barely disguised, in one of Jason's cryptic posts the next day. Which means someone was feeding him, and that someone was my mom? Yeah, I stared at the phone like it was a joke, like maybe someone else had grabbed her phone, maybe my dad hacked it, maybe anything other than the truth. But it made too much sense. She'd been texting more lately, not in the miss you way, more like, how are you really? And do you think you might have overreacted? The kind of soft guilt she's always been good at, the kind that made me question my own memory growing up. She'd asked where we were staying, asked if I'd found a lawyer, asked what I was planning, and I'd told her. Because a part of me still wanted to believe she wasn't like Jason, but she was. I confronted her, called her up and asked straight out, "Did you tell Jason what I said?" She didn't even deny it, just went quiet, then said, "He's your brother, Derek. He deserves to know what he's up against." I couldn't even breathe. "All the years I bent over backward for you," I said. "All the times I helped, stayed quiet, made myself smaller so you and Dad wouldn't have to deal with his mess. This is how you pay me back?" Her voice? Cold. "I did what was best for the family." That phrase again. Best for the family. Never best for me. I hung up. I blocked her. Allie held my hand for a long time after that. Didn't say anything. Just let me shake. Because it wasn't just betrayal. It was confirmation. My whole life I was never the golden child. Never the favorite. I was the insurance policy. The fallback. The one they could mine for help, guilt, money, support. Jason was the show. I was the stage. Not anymore. Because now, I've stopped trying to protect them. I'm not scared to go public with everything. Not just what Jason did, but what our parents enabled. The financial lies, the pressure, the manipulation, the emotional chokehold they called love. I've already started writing it. A full account, and I'm not hiding names. It's not revenge anymore, it's release. Here's the part where I'm supposed to say I got justice, that they all came crawling back, that the golden boy lost everything and I stood triumphant, like some main character in a redemption arc. But this isn't a movie. This is just the ugly, cathartic truth. I didn't burn their lives down. I just stopped holding the ladder while they climbed. After finding out my mom was the mole, something in me snapped, quietly, not like rage or revenge, more like grief, the kind you don't cry through, just sit with. Because when your own mother uses your trust as leverage for your worst enemy, it's not betrayal. It's a shift in gravity. So I stopped explaining myself, stopped responding to the guilt texts, stopped sending explanations to family who never deserved them. Instead, I wrote it all down. Every lie. Every manipulation. Every time I paid a bill Jason ignored, fixed something my dad broke, covered for mistakes I didn't make. I compiled the receipts, the screenshots, the audio files. I added a foreword, labeled everything. I turned my trauma into a timeline. And then I published it. Not on Reddit. Not anonymously. I sent it directly to the extended family. Emailed it to every relative in the address book. Posted it on a locked blog, and texted the link to every cousin who ever watched Jason cheat and said nothing. I didn't frame it as revenge. I framed it as truth. This is what I've lived. If you're okay with it, you can stay quiet. But I'm not playing the role anymore. I hit send, and I logged off. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, silence from my mom. Nothing from Jason either. Not even an angry DM or some thinly veiled post. Just radio silence. Like maybe, for once, they don't know what to say. A few cousins reached out, some shocked, some apologetic. One, my cousin Dana, even cried on the phone. Said, I always thought something was off. I just didn't know how bad. That part hurt more than it helped. Because she knew, they all knew. But I get it. It's easier to watch someone carry the weight than ask why they're always limping. The rest of the family? Split. Some pretending it never happened. Some quietly unfollowing Jason. A few unfriended me? Whatever. I wasn't trying to keep them. Allie and I moved last week. Not far, but far enough. A little one-bedroom with cracked tile and a view of the parking lot. We painted the walls ourselves. Bought second-hand furniture and a mismatched rug she loves because it looks like a mess that belongs. It's the first place we've had that feels like ours. No one can lock us out of it. No one can sell it out from under us. No one calls it the family house like it's a legacy I'm too broken to belong to. This question mark. This is the first page. I still get moments. Ghosts of obligation, flashes of old guilt. I still catch myself wondering if I was too harsh. But then I remember. They weren't asking for peace. They were asking for my silence. And I'm done giving it. Jason wanted me erased. My parents wanted me quiet. What they got instead. The truth. Loud. Unapologetic. Unfolding in front of everyone they ever lied to. No revenge plot. No fake reconciliation. Just me. Walking away. And taking the damn matchbook with me.